takes a look. Deflected, scores! Letang! Could you script it any better than this?
Pitch it to Najee Harris. Harris sidesteps, gets to the sideline. Najee Harris dives for the pylon. Touchdown, Steelers!
I don't think I expected anything less.
It's unbelievable. It is absolutely incredible.
Oh,
To show how
your compliments will get you
relaxed
everywhere.
he is for some
Thank you.
reason.
What's the countdown? What are they doing in there?
I don't know.
I'm going to break that dynamic duo up. No countdown? You know what? We're having technological difficulties. Welcome to another live edition of Pittsburgh Sportsline in the BP TV studio, 5100 West Library Avenue. You know where it's at. We appreciate doing these shows we're 18 shows away from 1,000, so we're counting down. So check it out. And we got a few people watching. Teresa Mariano, Ann Harder. Ann Harder says, looking forward to another good show. Thank you. We got a streak going on here. Every show's been good, in my opinion. Chief McElroy's watching. We got a lot of sports and stuff to talk about, but thanks for watching us on Facebook. We appreciate the interactions and all that stuff. And guess what? 400 subscribers to Pittsburgh Sportsline on YouTube. We appreciate all of you. I don't usually comment with them, and I missed a few comments last week when we were off of Facebook. Something happened there. But tonight, knock on wood, we're still on Facebook. It's been 8 months since a new company has our Facebook thing, and we've had nothing but, I'll say it, trouble. So, you know, we appreciate it. Smoking Jim likes it because everything's perfect where he's at in Monroeville, except the mall got sold, and, you know, they never talk about any criminality that the police tell me, don't come here at night. So I don't know what they mean, but they're friends of mine. But Smoking Jim says it's always sunny there and it never snows.
Always sunny in Philadelphia, right?
Well, Monroeville too, and it's God's country. All right, I'm Al Levine, the talking machine. Smoking Jim Lazarus Frazier. He's here and alive and losing weight. Look how thin he looks. To me, it's like a spring day. I'm taking a poll. Yes or no, do you think he's dressing for winter and he doesn't feel cold or warm?
That's how he's losing all that weight.
I know.
He's
Look,
opening up the pores.
he's disappearing.
He's got the heater on.
You know what? He might be going back from power lifter to the great Urkel running for touchdowns at Gateway. And we got Chip Hayner back. We appreciate it.
Alan, maybe he's going to be taking Najee's place in the backfield.
Well, they need somebody, but we'll try to talk about that. Jane Leffler, looking forward to the show tonight. Jane, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you. Nick Callis texted me yesterday that the baseball game got canceled. They're doing a doubleheader today. They had one game already, so he's helping the Blackhawks to win. I don't know. We didn't get any updates. I'm checking. I don't know if they won or lost. I think they're playing Upper St. Clair.
Wow.
So I don't know.
Rivalry game.
Yeah. You know, they hate us and we hate them. Usually I'm a nice, kind guy, but I'm just talking reality today, so we'll just go with it. We do some promos, but I got a promo. My neighbor on my street rescues dogs, and it's a 5K run and walk, dog walk included this year, Saturday, May 17th, 9 a.m. That's my son Drew's 34th birthday. So
Happy
now
birthday,
you know.
Drew.
He said hi to everybody. Start line is VFW Library and Montour Trail. Benefits veterans as well as Hearts and Paws Button Pantry. Registration fee only $20. If you don't do it in advance, $25 at the door. And if you register by 4:30, $25, you receive a t-shirt. Here it is. We got to test Linda, or no. Linda, we usually test that camera there because that one has to focus on me with Chance.
I'm going to let Drew walk my dog on his birthday.
He'd love it.
Nice.
He'd love it. He works at Petco, so he'd love it. All right, I can't see it, so I'll look at my phone. Whoa. Come on, Linda. We trust her. She's been here between 6 months and a year, and she's a world traveler. She'd happen to find time to make it in. Go, Linda. Let's see how it looks. I'm looking on the phone. Nobody will tell me. Whoa, I dropped it a little. There we go. Linda, great job. You got that artistic eyeballs working there. That is perfect. 10 seconds for the promos. Check them out now.
My name is Nicholas Callis, and this is the Bethel Park Minute. No Cook Tuesdays continue this week at the Bethel Park Community Center from 4 to 7 p.m. in the playground parking lot. Check Bethel Park Recreation socials for a list of their weekly food trucks. An electronics recycling event has been scheduled for this Saturday, March 29th, from 10 to 2 at the South Park Wave Pool parking lot. Check the flyer on the Bethel Park website for full details. Bethel Park is now hiring for several positions, including a certified plant operator, along with the seasonal splash park and summer camp positions. Go to Bethel Park's website to get information and to apply for these great opportunities. Businesses can also sign up to participate in the April 26th job fair by filling out the Bethel Park Job Fair employer registration form. Go to bethelparkpa.gov/job fair to do that. And you can fill out the Allegheny County Risk Assessment Survey featured in the Bethel Park News section on the Bethel Park website homepage. My name is Nicholas Callis, and this has been the Bethel Park Minute.
Pittsburgh Sportsline supports the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette Strikers. I worked there for 36 years. My former union, CWA PPMWS 14842, Pittsburgh Local Mailers Union number 22, is on strike. Even though health care benefits were secured for workers by the union, Post-Gazette management cut them out without the union's approval and still expected workers to show up without any coverage. Please cancel your Post-Gazette subscriptions online or in print. Pittsburgh Sportsline supports the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette Union Strikers. Frank Fanera, owner of Olive Oil's Pizzeria and the Hillcrest Shopping Center on Route 88. Call them at 412-831-1900. Every Tuesday night, Olive Oil's Pizzeria provides the host and the amazing volunteer crew with an XL pepperoni pizza and a full steak hoagie. They are delicious. Olive Oils is proud to support Pittsburgh Sportsline and the volunteers at BPTV. Stay Joey strong. Joey Fabus died at 8 years old of brain cancer known as DIPG. Since then, the family has come together with community members to create the Joey Fabus Childhood Cancer Foundation, a 501c3 nonprofit. Since being founded, they've raised over $100,000. Go to jfccf.org to learn more about DIPG, to help spread awareness, and to see how else you can support and donate towards the fight against this dreaded brain cancer. Always Be Smiling, a 501c3 designed to help children and families in need of kidney transplants. The B stands for Bennett, whose memory is embedded in this organization by his parents, Kristen and Dean. Despite the challenges he faced in his 16 and a half years of life, Bennett always had a smile on his face and spread kindness to everyone he could. Now, Always Be Smiling wants to pass on that kindness. Go to alwaysbesmiling.org to learn more and see how you can support or donate to this organization. The Bethel Park Community Foundation has money for you. I'm Al Levine, trustee on the board of this great organization. The BPCF focuses on raising money to provide scholarships, grants, endowments, and more. Grant requests are available online from $100 to $5,000. You can also attend fundraisers or donate. Go to bpcf.org to get more information and to stay up to date on upcoming events. The Bethel Park Community Foundation, focusing community resources, building for the future. The Bethel Park Historical Society is a 501c3 that serves Bethel Park. The Historical Society operates out of the Schoolhouse Arts and History Center, located at 2600 South Park Road. Look for the red and white trolley right out front. Reginald's Coffee is inside, and I've heard it's the best coffee around. To visit this great historical venue, email historicalsocietybp@gmail.com. Hey, thanks for watching the promos. We figured out what the problem was, or problems. Nobody's to blame, and everybody hurt each other. Mike Rohde, who couldn't make it, he's taking care of his sick wife, Diane, with pneumonia.
Oh, my goodness.
Russ Wilson to the Giants for $21 million.
I was going to break that.
Then
story,
Marco, we got the Rohde team jumping in here. Marco Rohde, Bethel Park 7, Upper St. Clair 4.
Wow.
Go Blackhawks.
Wow.
All right, one other guy, Tony from Chick-fil-A. I don't even know how to read this. Pirates will win only 50 games this year with that pitching rotation and no offensive bats.
Wow.
Yet people will still go to the games on special promo days while nutting, laughing all the way to the bank. Tony, you're entitled to your opinion. We're all optimistic. I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid, but I watched more games in the last 2 years than I did in the previous 3. So I'm hopeful again. And unlike Smokin' Jim, I'm not betting that they'll lose 100 or more. So I want to tell you, you're entitled to your opinion, but we're going to move on from it. Johnny Mariano, Smokin' Jim bought the Monroeville Mall with $1 bills. Johnny, you didn't know. Here's how funny he is.
Straight out of the G-string.
Oh, it's a family show. Johnny, just so you know, he only tried to buy it with $1, and they said, well, think about it, so they kept his $1. So if you don't bet with Smokin' Jim, you won't lose. So he did it again.
He's going to put a new Golden Corral in it.
Yeah, he did. Well, it's always sunny there, so. All right. Smokin' Jim Frazier. What's on your mind? I don't have relish to throw at you again, but I'll get relish next week. Hope you enjoyed it.
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And if you want the green, you got to see Levine. That relish was so good, man. The best I ever had.
Did
Al
you
Levine,
eat them
the
all?
talking machine.
Better than that meatball sandwich from Sips?
Huh?
Better than that meatball sandwich from Sips?
Well, relish.
It was different.
Relish goes with the hot dogs, brother.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got something to show you, and that we.
But only
when we're done.
packets. Only the packets taste good.
I got them 5 packets, Chip, last
Yeah,
week.
4.
I thought there was 5
yeah,
in
it
there.
was 4 in there. Yeah, they're
I
all
must have
good.
ate one on the way.
Yeah. Hey, El Levine, the talking machine. It's almost April, so you know what that means. I can't wait to get my turkey hoagie from the Bethel Park band. Now, the football team will never ever win the championship, but the band is a dynasty. El Levine, the talking machine. You know, the basketball team runs up and down the court for exercise only. But Chance, Marco, and Mikey is number 1 in my book, El Levine, the
What
talking
does that
machine. Huh?
What does that mean?
It wasn't to you. It was to the band, brother. You didn't play in the band, so you didn't know what that means. That's band talk.
I got you beat. I've been a band dad for 22 years.
Really?
Buying their hoagies.
22? And you never sold one to me. Wow. I'm gonna take back your Hill District card, Al Levine, the
Oh,
Tiger
you
Machine.
can't because it's true. I'm going to take your Monroeville card off you. So
Well, I tell you what, Al Levine, the Tiger Machine, I bought a $200 briefcase
out of the back
For
of
all-
what car?
for all my valuables.
Whoa, watch that garbage.
My most important valuables in life is in here, Al Levine, the Tiger
Is it
Machine.
$250 in ones?
I put your my password is your October birthday. Al Levine,
I
the
don't have
Tiger
a birthday
Machine.
in October.
And here's my value. I don't leave home without it. Al Levine, the Tiger Machine.
Notice how it's not notice how it's the gold ginger ale, not the cranberry.
Right.
That's why he had to put it in the briefcase.
Well, my briefcase is as empty as the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback room, and I love me some Mason Rudolph. But Mason Rudolph proved in his career that he's a guy that'll win you a few games, have some good games, but maybe fall off after that. In his whole career, he only has 28 touchdown passes and 20 interceptions in his whole career. That's barely a good season. That's his whole career. Last year, he had the opportunity, Al Levine, the Tiger Machine, to take that job in Tennessee. He went 9 touchdown passes, 9 interceptions, never had a game over 300 yards, and was eventually benched. So right now, with Russell Wilson signing a contract with the New York Giants, I guess he'll be Deion Sanders' son's mentor. Right now, it's Aaron Rodgers or bust for the Pittsburgh Steelers. What do you guys think? Hands up over there, orange shirt.
First, we're seeing history of the NFL being made. This is 2 seasons in a row. We don't know who our starting quarterback is. So just think about that. Then you got one of the best athletic quarterbacks in history has only won 1 Super Bowl. And I don't know, I've heard this word Karen. No offense to the Karens that are my friends. So I don't know why they're calling him Karen Rodgers. Then he does something for Coach T because, he's instrumental in getting DK Metcalf here. And he only came here for $150 million, so I don't know what Coach T did. So Aaron Rodgers, he can talk, meditate, go into the dark.
Yeah.
They had him in the tunnels without all the lights on. So he felt at home there at Acrisure. So here's where I'm disappointed. They did everything possible, flew him in here, flew him back, and he spent 6 hours with them. And guess what? They didn't accept his offer of $90 million. How's that even possible?
Do you think, and Chip may be able to agree with this, do you think he's going to wait till April to make his decision here in Pittsburgh on the McAfee show? The McAfee's doing their show here in April. I would love that. I love that. I love a guy to go on national TV and just talk about his team.
Smoking Jim.
I don't know about all that. But speaking about Mason Rudolph, you said 9 touchdown passes last year. You said 9 interceptions. Sounds like a perfect fit for an Arthur Smith offense.
I salute you there. Well, Smoking Jim, to your point, here's what I think he's going to do, because it was narrowed down to Minnesota, the Giants, and now they've all done it. So does that mean we're going to get him? No, because guess what he can do?
Retire.
No, he can just do nothing and wait till somebody needs a quarterback.
Oh, good point.
And training camp.
I didn't think of that.
And, well, I'm trying to think like him, and it's so hard because I'm not as smart as him.
There's plan B, too. He could also sign for $90 million and come here and do nothing.
Yeah, but here's what's stopping him. He's one of the few quarterbacks that can do his own plays, watches the team and how they perform. Mm-hmm. What did he do when he went to the Jets? He had them change everything just for him. What can he do here? Nothing. Do you think at 41, not being mobile, that he wants to take a chance and getting hurt?
Other than win individual awards since 2010, what has he really done?
I'm agreeing with you.
That's pretty important. Individual
Yeah, no,
awards
especially in a
pretty
team
important.
game.
But I can tell you this. I can tell you this, Al Levine, the Tiger Machine, and
Just
Chip
checking.
And Linda, I can tell you this.
Why Linda?
After spending all those years in Green Bay, he probably thinks the Steeler facilities is top class, brother. So we ain't got to worry about him. Nobody turning their nose up at our facilities.
No, Smoking Jim, I'll repeat myself. He was here 6 hours. Even Smoking Jim could be non-committal, and you know what he's thinking, because that's how he operates. Like he said he heard a countdown. Nobody here heard a countdown. I rest my case with Smoking. Aaron Rodgers is going to string us as long as he can. So thanks, Smoking Jim. Chip Painter, what's on your mind? I don't even have to ask. Go ahead.
Did you call me a goat header?
No, go ahead. I said go ahead.
So, well, it's good to be back after a 1 week hiatus.
I know.
Hey, what's on my mind? Baseball season starts on Thursday. And what a way to start the season off for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Two of the best pitchers in the National League will be going head-to-head. Sandy Alcantara for the Miami Marlins.
Who?
And Paul Skeens. What do you know?
Sorry, folks. We have extra time to kill, and we've been going with 4 people for a while, and even our young volunteers wonder if we could do it. Smoking Jim and I have talked for an hour straight with no airtime. Chip and I have done an hour, and there wasn't a second of
Dead air.
air.
So, anyhow, I'm very, very excited for the Pirates season. I do believe the Pirates are going to contend. The Central Division is going to be very weak this year.
Wow.
And I do believe that the Pirates can contend for a division title. Don't know if they'll make it or not, but it sure is going to be fun to watch. And if you want to hold me to a number,
Yeah.
okay, 'cause
I do.
I know there's probably some people that are wondering what kind of a number am I going to assign to
I'm
them
one
this
of
year?
them.
85.
A winning season.
85.
Playoffs?
85 is my number. If they get it to 85, they will make the playoffs.
I'm predicting
Okay.
playoffs.
So,
I don't like to waste prayers, but I'm going to put a little prayer out
but
there.
and
I'm wasting.
And and the Pirates
Please.
were not that far out of it last year with a team that had more holes than Swiss cheese. And I think some of those holes that they've plugged up, and if they have the bounce back years from Key Brian Hayes and from Jack Sawinski.
Well, give me some good news from the Grapefruit League.
From the Grapefruit
With
League.
what you've seen, I don't care about records.
You know
What have you seen in that Grapefruit
I
League?
see we've got a lot of quality young pitchers, and the 5 that we're starting the season with are certain. I don't think are going to be the 5 that are the starting by the time we get to July.
You heard it here first. All right.
And the big question mark is Jared Jones and his right elbow.
He's out.
Is that going to require Tommy John surgery?
Yes.
Or is he going to pitch this year? We're going to have to wait and see. Time will tell, and I hope they don't wait too long, because if he does need to go under the knife, Tommy John surgery is 12 to 18 months rehab. So that means
Look at Smoking Jim.
not
He's
gonna-
had 20 years.
he's not
like
going to be
that.
able to play until mid 2026 at the earliest.
Wow.
So, but the interesting thing that I'm becoming less and less inclined to pay attention to stuff I read on the internet, even though I do pay attention to it.
Okay.
And I'm sure I don't listen to all the negative criticism that's constantly on the airwaves, whether it's
You mean local media?
video media or
Social media.
radio media. There was an article that came out that said that somebody took a deep dive into the Pirates' finances, and they discovered that the Pirates actually lost money last year, which, I mean, none of us know this for sure, and anybody that says that they took a deep dive and found out what the Pirates' finances are, let me tell you something. They don't guard the gold bullion at Fort Knox as carefully as Major League Baseball owners guard their books, okay? There is not a chance that any one of the Major League teams will let anybody see what their profits and losses are,
Yeah.
because the disparity between the haves and the have-nots is
Great.
such a big divide that you would wonder, it's like, how can half to 2/3 of the team in the league even compete, yet some do. So to say that whether the Pirates make money or lose money, it's a foolish statement to make because nobody knows. The only person that really
Chip,
knows
to interrupt you,
is the accountants.
Why do they announce 67 to 75 million that they make from just TV profits?
Right. But see what they don't announce?
That's why I'm asking.
There are what the Pirates fund, okay?
Yeah.
Is a instructional league team.
I got
a
you.
low A team, a high A team, a double A team, a triple A team, a major league team. They've got scouts and baseball instructional places in the Caribbean. So there is do you think any minor league baseball team turns a profit?
Probably
they don't.
not.
Sometimes there's
especially
12.
with those boiled peanuts that they sell.
Well,
Savannah bananas.
You got about 12 people. You got about 12 people that show up to some of these games. So, no, they don't bring in a lot of revenue. And how do you think that money's funded? It's funded by the Major League Club. They may get, 50, 60, 70, and nobody knows because it's all speculation. Because, once again, nobody opens their books, so you don't know. Give me a second, Jim.
Okay.
And so
Probably an
so my
intelligent
point
question.
being, saying whether the Pirates make or lose money is kind of a foolish statement because it's not based in fact. But those are the narratives that people want to push because we can continue to criticize and berate the team, because that's the narrative that people want to believe. I don't know what the truth is. None of us will ever know. So that's where I'm at. But you going to make a comment?
Yeah. I got the pirate books right in here.
There you go. The interesting thing was about 6 or 7 years ago, I did an estimate on a person that lives somewhere over in the Mon Valley, and her husband was the chief financial officer for the Pittsburgh Pirates.
No
And he lives in the
way.
Mon Valley?
You should have seen the place he lived in. Trust me.
Woo!
Yeah, the
Better
place
than
was-
Monroeville.
The place was worth 7 or 8 figures. Okay.
Smoking Jim's house can't compare.
Yeah. So either
I wouldn't even drive through the Mon Valley.
either way,
You have.
in talking to his
Yeah, let's
wife,
get the point.
It is one of the most closely guarded secrets on the planet
Wow.
of how much money the Pirates bring in. Now the Pirates, you got like the Yankees and the Red Sox and the Dodgers. They're bringing in billions of dollars.
Their
a
TV
year
networks are billions.
from their local television revenue.
Yeah.
And the Pirates just simply aren't.
We're not a market that big.
No, and we're never going to be that big. The only way, what's broken in baseball more than anything else is the fact that there isn't equal revenue sharing. Why is the NFL so competitive? Because they equally share revenues, and they can have a salary cap, and everybody
Yeah.
can spend up to it. I think one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard of is that Major League Baseball should have a salary floor. Like, I don't know of any other professional sports league on the planet that has a salary floor. I mean, if you want to make it even, then share your profits. That way, every team can be more competitive. And, then if you want to criticize the team for mismanaging the talent they have, like everybody's doing with the Steelers, okay, that's more justified than criticizing somebody that can spend 1/100th of other teams. So you've got that going on.
No, but I got another question for you. Remember a few years ago, the Major League Baseball, you hardly ever see or hear this. They wouldn't allow the Pirates to spend all the money they were spending on minor league teams. How did they find that out if you can't look at their books?
Because they were doing things that other teams weren't, and they saw the disparity in it.
I knew you'd have an answer.
But but be that as it may, so all those things excited. I watch what goes on between the white lines, and Thursday at 4:10, I'm going to be paying attention to Pirates baseball.
Opener away.
The opener.
Yeah.
I will be at the home opener. That's a week from
I
Friday.
misspoke there, yeah.
The next thing I want to comment about, we wrote the Penguins off as being dead on arrival.
How many did they win in a row after
Well,
that?
and here's what they're going to end up doing. They're going to screw everything up and ruin their draft position if they keep on winning hockey games. And, and on top of that, Sidney Crosby is getting set to break Wayne Gretzky's record.
Talk to Mr. Ovechkin
Oh,
next
yeah,
time.
this is a bigger record than Ovechkin's.
Only one.
Yeah, it
Not
is,
bigger than
because
that.
Wayne Gretzky had 19 seasons in the NHL where he averaged a point per game. Sid Crosby, 2 more games, will have made it in his 20th season of averaging 1 point per game. which I think overshadows anything Ovechkin does because
that's-
he's a Ruski.
You're
Yeah.
in the minority. You're in the minority. How far is Ovechkin away? Because I would love for
Who knows?
I would love for him to break. I know he was
You
like
know what?
5 away a few
Smoking
days
Jim,
ago.
I helped you a couple weeks ago.
When you love for him to break it here in Pittsburgh?
I don't like Ovechkin.
What? You don't like sports?
I like sports. I like you, but I don't like what you're saying. I can't be any more clear than that. Come on there, buddy. No,
There you
Chip,
go.
great points.
That's
and
what's on my mind.
the thing is, like, I grew up in a different era with Chip. I'll be 69 this year. I didn't know who the owner of the Pirates was in the 60s. I found out in the 70s it was Dreyfus, and he owned
Well,
racehorses.
Galbraith, the
Yeah,
Galbraith
Galbraith, and he owned racehorses, which I was at the Meadows in '74, so I thought that was cool. Then I thought back, you know what? I have great memories my whole childhood with the Pirates.
Never, and you know what? I have never cared who owns the Pirates. Not in 60 plus years of rooting for this team.
Right.
Never have I cared who the owner of the Pirates.
And I got 60 plus.
Yeah, there you go.
But I got them by 4 years.
There you go.
So, yeah. All right, Tony from Chick-fil-A. Here's a funny one. Sometimes Tony's funny, tries to add humor with you since you're always making up stuff. Smokin' Jim is on live TV and can barley talk sports? LOL. He doesn't know what barley is, Tony. I cook with it once in a while. It's an ancient grain and it's good. Michael Rohde. Jim, are you still watching The Shield?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, he is. Peggy Rohde, hello to all enjoying the show from Rochester, New York. Nick and Peggy Rohde, thank you, our biggest fans. We appreciate you.
With some relish.
Glad we can interact. I don't know what deal they got going on there, but it's a little sideshow that's private, so we'll carry on. What's on my mind? I just alluded to that I've been at the Meadows racetrack since 1974. Even owned horses at the Meadows. Met a lot of people out there the whole time I've been there. When I owned horses, I would jog them around. They taught me how to hold the reins between your hands, and you have a bit in the horse's mouth, and you can steer them. Imagine Smokin' Jim. You're tough driving a car. Now you drive a horse, you're called a driver. There's over 100 horses. There's a grader grading the track, and there's a water track wetting the limestone. You had to steer around there. They let me do my horses, and they had champion fillies, $100,000 fillies. They let me take them around the track. Wow. Guess what? I can't do anything that the drivers do. And there was a great young driver, Hunter Myers.
Yes, sir.
He was 24 years old. I've seen accidents in 50 years of going to the Meadows. Horses died. They sometimes even shot them because they were injured so badly. I saw wrecks with Dave Pallone, Doug Snyder, and other drivers get hurt. This is the first time in the Meadows history, and it's so sad. Hunter Myers, an up-and-coming young driver, and they don't call them jockeys. If you call them a jockey, that's offensive. They're drivers.
That's the thoroughbred racing.
That's the thoroughbreds with the jockeys on them. And he was in an accident, and he died. And they've had memorials, fundraisers. They honored him at different tracks because the standard-bred horses and all the drivers, trainers, and people associated, they go back 5-6 generations, and it's in their families, and it's just a great community. And they lost one of their own who was an up-and-coming young man and had done so well. He has a 4-month-old daughter and a fiance that he left behind. So prayers to them, and we'll just do a little moment of silence for them because I respect all of them. All right, thank you for that, and we honor the Meyer family and wish them well. And it's tough to lose anybody, yet somebody that young too, so very sad. All right, on a lighter note, let's do some fiction and fact with Smokin' Jim's Almanac. You know what? We heard everything unlike Smokin' Jim.
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. That's a hard one to follow.
You're welcome.
I seen all the updates on it, and such a young guy. And I tell you what, man, I went around that track a couple of times in real competition, and now you know why I was holding on tight.
Well, I'll give you this. We were in a celebrity race for all of you that, I don't know, maybe 7, 8 years ago. Dave Cable knows I'm a bit of a character. He gave me a GoPro to hold in the sulky. I'm in the sulky holding the GoPro on Smokin' Jim, and Mike Wilder, who was my driver, we're going, and he goes, "You okay?" And I go, "Yeah, I'm filming Smokin' Jim." He goes, "What's he doing?" I said, "He's holding his breath." We had one lap, 5/8 of a mile. He's a big guy. He's holding his breath. He's hunkered down like this. I'm hanging out with the GoPro, and I got him live. Son of a gun, he had a lead. Mike goes, "We're going to go. You ready?" I said, "We got to beat my man." We lost by a head. We almost beat him.
So that was back when Jim had a few more pounds on him, right?
Whoa.
Did they need 2 horses to pull him around the track?
Well, these horses, the horses weighed about 3 times as much as Smokin' Jim at 1,000 pounds. And they're great athletes, so the weight's like in your car since it has the sulky. And he survived, but he was holding his breath.
But Al Levine, the talking machine, and Chip, I tell you what, man, this is how hard it is to find a quarterback. Basically, in the Pittsburgh Steelers history, they only had 2 good quarterbacks, Big Ben and Terry Bradshaw. Big Ben, 64,000 career yards. Terry Bradshaw, 27,000 career yards. Cordell Stewart, number 3 at 13,000 yards. Neil O'Donnell, who's hated in this town, 12,000 yards. Bubby Brister, number 5 at 10,000 yards. And I got to say my main man, the Hall of Famer statue outside of the Detroit Lions Stadium, Bobby Lane with 9,000 yards. Al Levine, the talking machine, and Chip, I've been saying this for a year. Everybody say the best quarterback class is next year. The best quarterback is in this class. My number 1 rated quarterback is in this class, and he may slide to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Jack Dart from Mississippi is unbelievable quarterback.
I thought it's Jackson.
Well, I call him Jack, J-A-K, but his real name is Jackson. It's short. It's almost like
Jax,
James and Jimmy and Jim. But
Okay.
I call him Jack. Jack of all trades. Al Levine, the talking machine.
Thank you for clarifying that.
That's who I would draft, even though I always say it's not what you do, it's what you have to redo. The Pittsburgh Steelers blew it with Kenny Pickett in the first round. Now they got to redo it and draft another quarterback in this draft. I think everybody says that's the most important position in all the sports. I think it's the easiest position to play in all the sports, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, because nobody can touch you.
Yeah. You ever, like I told these guys last week, you ever play all-time quarterback when you was a kid?
Yeah.
You never missed a pass. Boom, 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 hit the open receiver.
Nobody was allowed to touch you.
Yeah, that's all you got to do. It's not
I did
hard.
it well.
Yeah, you did it well,
So-
and these guys are doing it well here in the
Speak
NFL.
to
It's
your
an
point.
easy position to play.
Here we
thing
go.
that people seem to forget, the Steelers won Super Bowl 14 in 1980. Okay, it was 20.
No, yeah,
It was
1980, yeah.
25
Let 'em finish.
years before the Steelers had a Super Bowl winning quarterback again.
Good
So
point.
you know, I mean, Big Ben's been gone for what? A cup of coffee?
But
5
they
years.
pretty much had winning seasons all that time.
Well, but apparently, so what you're saying is having consistent winning seasons is good enough if you don't have a franchise quarterback.
He said it.
Unlike the team that's consistently won for the last 18 years, which just simply isn't good enough.
All I can say is this.
It's a conundrum, Chip.
All I can
Look
say
that
is
up.
this. When you consistently win, like Green Bay and the Pittsburgh Steelers, you can buy the team for $500 or $5,000, and it's worth $9 billion right now if you wanted to sell.
It was $3,000 in 1933.
And they
Then
can
he went in-
It was
then
a
he-
bet on a horse.
I was
And
going
they're
to say,
worth
was it a card
$8
game or
billion.
No, it was a horse race. Yeah, he won
and
a
they're
horse
worth
race.
$8 billion now. So that's because you're relevant every year. That's very important.
But you're absolutely right. Finding the right quarterback, just because a guy can throw a ball 60 yards in the air doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be a good quarterback. I say the same thing about pitchers in baseball. Just because you can throw the ball 100 miles an hour doesn't necessarily mean you're a good pitcher.
You got to know how to pitch, Smoking Jim.
So, the quarterbacks is something that I don't know if you can measure it at the combine. They've got to have that it factor. There's something that, like Joe Montana had it. Actually Danny Marino had it. The problem was the Dolphins couldn't put a defense that could keep people from scoring.
Exactly.
But,
well, we're talking quarterbacks, and in my whole life, I don't know if you've recognized the same thing. Well, QBs. You can call it whatever you want. You'll make up a story. When have you ever seen in NFL history that 2 seasons in a row an undeclared non-starting quarterback?
Minnesota do it all the time. Minnesota do that all the time.
When?
That's their career. Minnesota, you look at the history of Minnesota, they got a different quarterback.
I need the records.
Alan, the Cleveland Browns have been doing it for 26 years.
No, they've named. No, they had Deshaun Watson for the biggest contract ever.
Just because they signed him for a lot of money. Wait, how many games has he won for him?
I don't even think it
probably
was
as many as Aaron Rodgers won for the Jets.
Whoa! All right, but I just say that the leadership at the Steelers from top to bottom is a little bit lax. Because how can you not have plans for a quarterback after a future Hall of Fame quarterback retires?
But before we go to Chip,
and here's one. Now I'm glad you brought that up. I've always felt this about Ben Roethlisberger. He was one of the most selfish players that I ever saw play for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yep.
And the thing,
I agree.
And he was not going to help to develop a protege. He wasn't. He was.
I agree again.
So we got rid of, or we had a selfish quarterback that retired, and now we want to bring in one that's even worse. Okay, like what's he going to do to help make any of the other guys in the quarterback room any better?
He's here for the money. He wants a retirement.
And that's the sad testament on.
You see, Chip makes a good point. See, one thing about Aaron Rodgers is precise. When he tells you to go 15 back to 12, he's throwing that ball where you're supposed to. And you got number 14 out there freelance, and he's not going to be nowhere there. He's going to throw. You think he threw Mike Williams, who runs better routes than George Pickens? It's going to be a problem. And Metcalf don't run the greatest routes in the world. That's why I thought they'd bring back Russell Wilson.
No, but I mean, if they're going to bring in somebody, it should be bring in somebody. Now, if you were the Steelers, just your humble opinion,
we have a bunch of Super Bowls.
Okay, how high in the draft are you taking a quarterback?
21st.
Okay,
With
the first pick.
If Dart is still there, of course, Dart throws darts.
Okay, no, I'm not. I'm saying that. Okay, and then the criticism will start. Well, the last time they reached at the 20 or 21st pick for a quarterback, but they picked the wrong guy.
Well, we're in the middle of the draft or the back end of the draft every year because we hold our hat on not having a losing season for 18 years. That doesn't mean much.
We talk about that, but you know what? They compete. They go out and they try to win every game that they can. I mean, they're not ever out there deliberately throwing a game.
I agree, but sometimes with the talent that you don't have or do have, maybe don't try that extra effort.
Well, you know what?
Sit a few players.
I have an opinion on that I'm not going to get into now because I could probably go off for about 30 or 40 minutes.
We got.
But I've got some interesting trivia to go over, and I'm sure you got some things.
Yeah. We'll go with that. All right. Thanks, Smoking Jim, for kicking that off with. You going to bring the briefcase out one more time? It was a good prop. It was good.
Chance liked it. Chance taught me.
He's going on Amazon.
We're not even talking to Chance. We're talking.
He's going on Amazon to order some relish.
And a packet. I was going to get him a jar, but the packets were good at the AMC Theater.
He's never going to look at hot dogs the same way.
No, he won't. All right, let's go to Chip's trivia time in 10 seconds.
So everybody, last time I was here 2 weeks ago, I came up with an interesting trivia nugget where I said that there was 4 major league players that hit home runs as a teenager and as a 40-year-old. And remember that was Gary Sheffield, Alex Rodriguez, Ty Cobb, and Rusty Staub.
Yeah, Rusty Staub from Montreal.
I've got another interesting piece of information here. There are 4 pitchers in Major League Baseball history that have won 20 games in a season for 3 different teams.
Wow, that is rare as could be.
2 of these you've probably heard of. The other 2, I doubt anybody's heard of. First one would be Gaylord Perry.
Oh, yeah.
Gaylord Perry won 20 games with the Giants, the Indians, and the Padres.
And the spitball.
The second one up is none other than Roger the Rocket Clemens, who won 20 games for the Red Sox, the Blue Jays, and the Yankees.
Yeah, all good teams.
Number 3 on the list, and I would be surprised if maybe anybody other than Al Levine heard of him, Pete Alexander.
My man.
Who won 20 games for the Phillies, the Cubs, and the Cardinals. And the last but not least, and Chief, you will like this one, Carl Mays is the 4th pitcher who won 20 games for the Red Sox, the Yankees, and the Reds.
Wow.
So there have been over 20,000 people that have played Major League Baseball in its history.
Yeah.
So there's been 4 that have hit home runs as a teenager, and after their 40th birthday, there have been 4 pitchers that have won 20 games in a season for 3 different teams.
Wow.
That's amazing.
That is amazing. Truly. Thanks, Chip. Your trivia hit a new level with that. 2025, he's staying alive with his trivia.
Something fresh. I mean, I could always rehash. There's plenty of old stuff that I could rehash that people have forgotten about. But I like to keep things
It's fresh.
exciting.
You kept it fresh. Don't ask Smoking Jim about any history of baseball, though. All right.
If he does, he learned a long time ago not to fact check me.
yeah, I did. That was good, Chip.
No doubt about it there. No doubt. All right, we'll go to On Location. On Location, Chip, I don't have anything for On Location.
Oh, my goodness.
We're hopeful. We missed out on
Didn't you do the fights this weekend?
No, we didn't do this past weekend.
Was that the weekend before?
Yeah, the weekend before. The Donnybrook was great.
Are we going to Ireland in July?
No, they cut you loose when they heard how much you're going to charge. He has to have 100 2-liter bottles of cranberry ginger ale. Right there, Rob in charge of it said, can't do it.
Can I get some ham hocks down there?
No, not either.
Collard
We got a couple extra minutes here, but yeah, no updates on that. Yeah, we always look for future boxing. Once in a while it comes up. This year with Golden Gloves, didn't do any there, and they had great tournaments from what we heard and saw with the gyms that we have, so it's great stuff. We're going to open it up with just anything to talk about. Let me see. Jane Leffler brought up, who do you think will win the college men's basketball tournament?
Wow.
Well, guess what? I haven't watched a whole lot of college sports. With the NIL, it sort of burst a bubble with me liking college sports because of the money, because I never considered them pros. Like Smoking Jim, I would call them athletes that are going to school. And I emphasize athletes.
You know, one of the interesting things, and I always love March Madness, you know, because
me too.
Because the athletes that you see playing March Madness, you know, they're going to make more money in their professional careers not playing basketball, okay? And so these guys are out there, and they're giving it their heart and soul.
Yeah.
Now, I do believe that, this NIL money and all these, their transfer portal, I think it's actually ruining college sports.
I concur.
But after the very first day of upsets and the tournament last Thursday, 50% of the people that had brackets had them busted.
Wow.
Yeah, they were busted. Well, then here's what I want to get to. I watched the game Florida against UConn. They're back and forth and all that, and I'm watching the end of the game, and UConn's down by 4 or 5, and they had won 2 in a row, and their coach always is boisterous. He's yelling on
Is it Bobby or Danny Hurley? It's
Danny.
Bobby. It's Danny?
I'm trying to think. Danny Hurley?
Or Bob. It's
Yeah. Yeah, and he's so boisterous on all this and yelling at the refs and players and everything else. Florida was the number 1 in their, division or whatever, and they won. They actually both played a good game, and there's one questionable call whether there should have been a call against Florida, and UConn was up by a point. So what's a foul shot? 1 or 2, points? Would that have made the difference? Everybody's looking for an excuse on why they lost. How about you got beat by the better team?
There you go. No, what we're looking to do is we're looking to blame somebody for our shortcomings instead of just saying, you know what, today they were the better team. When it came down to crunch time, they made the plays and we didn't.
Well, it'd be nice if you guys answer the question that they asked you. They asked who's going to win it. And do you know who I put my money on before the tournament started?
No.
And they're still in it. They started the season 0-5. But look out for them because they got the best coach.
Arkansas,
baby.
They beat Patina. I watched the end of that game.
You know how much money I'll win if Arkansas wins it all?
I hate to be a front runner with sports.
Put $2 on it?
Yeah, I hate to be a front runner with sports, but I like winning teams and I like consistent teams. And I watched a good Duke team that they were close in their first half. Then all of a sudden, the first 5 minutes of the second half, they're up by 16 points.
Wow.
They got shooters and players. I forget who they were playing.
Yeah,
Duke, they have a great 5 starters on the team.
They got 3 starters that came off that Monteverde Academy, which is where Jalen
Shafino
played. And this is like this
guest
is
on our
almost
show.
a semi-pro team. But they were 33-0 this past season.
Wow.
So they and they ship them right into Division 1. They go from there. It's like a finishing school.
No, and how they played, you're looking at their 5 players, they all can go fast break. They can all rebound, shoot, and score.
So,
I'm looking at Duke as your question. Chip, on you?
You know what? I'm rolling with Jim in Arkansas, man. I'm gonna bet his house.
Hey, can we say something on a sad note? The one thing about basketball, football, hockey, baseball, any sport,
soccer,
and football's the only collision sport.
Soccer?
Well, football's the only collision
Doesn't
sport.
acknowledge soccer?
But, hey,
soccer?
Did you see USC and Juju? I know we don't talk women's sports as much as we should.
Yeah.
Juju out for the year. She may never be the same.
But did you see that USC was the odds-on favorite to win the women's?
They beat UCLA 3 times this year.
They won by 40 points last night.
Even
though she did not play most of the game. Now, I was going to bring up the women's tournament because they got to the Sweet 16.
Well,
Paige Brookers, who is
I saw her.
She scored over 30 points.
Because
she sat most of the second half. Because UConn just lit it up. They were ahead by like 40 or 50 points, and it wasn't even close.
It was over. Yeah.
But Gino Ariema, who he got all emotional because she set the record for the most 30-point games in the NCAA women's tournament.
Right.
Think about all of the great basketball players.
Well, he's been coming up short. He's been coming up short the last 10 years as a coach. But
he's only won 11 championships.
Yeah, and now that everybody else got good, he can't seem to coach in the big games.
In your opinion.
Can we give a shout out to St. Francis, who made the March Madness, and then every one of their players jumped in the portal, and they're talking about going Division III. Hell, you got to love them. Nothing good happens in Johnstown, does it? And they even won the game. Did they win the game?
No, you know what we're not talking about is Robert Morris.
Yeah.
Who made it to the tournament, and they played a much stronger Alabama team, and they played well.
Yeah, they
did. They
did.
lost by 9 points, but they did not lay down. I mean, they did not get steamrolled.
They showed a lot of class because right after the game, they got on the bus and came back home from Cleveland. I thought that was classless. Let the kids stay overnight. Hell, they play their hearts out.
In Cleveland? In Cleveland?
I know they ain't paying the players. They get right back on that school bus.
They wanted to sleep in a bed that didn't have bed bugs. In Cleveland? They caught the river on fire.
Now, them players ought to jump in the pool.
I got to do a disclaimer with Smoking Jim.
And I love Robert Moore.
He says he loves all these things and he loves to win, but he never shook anybody's hand when they beat Gateway.
Never.
So they did what you did. They ran out of town.
Well, that's why he's
my
not
record
shaking.
up to 18 years old was 143-1, and I've never shook nobody's hand.
I want to see the documentation on that.
And the thing is, he hasn't shook anybody's hand in 20 years because they haven't won.
You're pretty close to that, Chip. I can vouch with it with some of the boxers. Yeah. He doesn't shake their hands.
But no.
Just the winners.
In all seriousness.
No doubt about it. Anybody want to talk a little bit Penguins on this?
The Penguins are actually, the younger players are starting to step up.
Isn't that amazing?
Well, and, where were they? Why'd they wait so long? I mean, the fact of the matter is, even though they're not mathematically eliminated,
right?
They were written off as being a playoff team, and I think it would just, they've got all these draft picks, and I think what they need to do is just play out the season the way they played the first half of it, and because they weren't trying to lose as badly as they did earlier this year. They were just terrible.
Just try to win and lose.
But now they got guys that actually are playing with the attitude that, I'd like to stay here in the NHL.
Yeah, and we've had some better goaltending at times.
Well, that's you play better defense, you get better goaltending. I mean,
isn't that funny? Nobody talks about that lack of defense.
They do when the Steelers play.
You mean our teams get treated differently here?
Oh, yes, of course they do.
But here's the thing, and Chip made a good point, and L. Levine, the Talk Machine, you do too. Everybody wants to get on the Pittsburgh Steelers offense. In 2 games against the Ravens almost ran up 600 yards on our defense. We still got the same defensive coordinator who stinks. We got all the talent in the world on defense. All you need is a little bit more help on the defensive line. They didn't sign any free agents because they're waiting on Aaron Rodgers. L. Levine, the Talking Machine. The Pittsburgh Steelers lost down the stretch mainly because of the defense.
They couldn't stop the run, and I mean,
I can't argue with you on that.
I mean,
Jim.
that's been true.
You are right
football.
on that.
That's been true.
The
about
most
football since
expensive
the 50s.
defense in the NFL.
History.
Yeah, I mean, that's been true about football since the 50s.
Yeah.
If you can't stop the run, you're not going to win a lot of football games.
And that's why we got Art Smith.
Well, like I said, Mason Rudolph seems like he's custom made for his offense.
Well, I just have a sort of rhetorical question. Why would Mason Rudolph come back after he got mistreated, saving the win streak 2 years ago?
Well, I talked to some people very close to Mason Rudolph 2 years ago. He almost retired to go into real estate. And I tell you what, I'm close to Mason because my brother lives in Rock Hill, South Carolina, real close to where Mason Rudolph's family.
How close are you to your brother, though?
Yeah, we're real close.
We know that's not true.
L. Levine, the Talking Machine.
Sorry.
And I can tell you from looking at Rock Hill.
What's your brother's name?
From looking at Rock Hill and Mason's family, he wouldn't have done well in real estate.
What's your brother's name?
He came back for $8 million.
Hold it. What's your brother's name?
Silk.
Okay, thank you. Just wanted to make sure.
Is he smooth?
Smooth as they come, brother.
Does your brother?
As cool as the bottom side of the pillow.
Hey,
huh?
we only got about 30 seconds to go, so we'll wrap it up. We learned Smoking Jim has one brother with a name. Thank you for watching the show. Please stay Joey strong.